Hello, this is Module 4, Religion in Schools by Michelle Hunt. I'm going to start off with giving just a little bit of history on religion in schools. So in the 19th century, Protestants and Catholics fought over prayer and Bible readings in school. Protestants challenged the conservatives on why Darwin's theory of evolution should be taught in school. In 1962, Bible reading was banned in school, and then the very next year, 1963, prohibited school-sponsored prayers at high school football games was also banned. The Constitution prohibits schools from indoctrinating children into religion. The Elementary and Secondary Education Act started in 1965, and it requires states to issue guidance to state educational agencies such as local educational agencies and the public on constitutionally protected prayer in elementary and secondary schools. The relationship between religion and government in the United States is governed by the First Amendment. And the First Amendment states that the public school officials show neither favoritism nor hostility against religious expression. I'm going to now start off going over some rights. First, I'll start off with student rights, and so these are the rights of students in our district. The religious expression in public schools is a set of guidelines that was sent to every superintendent in 1995, and this was done by the U.S. Department of Education. As a school district, you must not infringe on students' rights to freedom of speech. And onto the side over here, I listed the guidelines for religious expression that was sent in 1995. Students, as long as they are acting on their own, have the same rights to engage in religious activity and discussion as they do in comparable secular activities. What that would mean is students can participate in a conversation about religion just the same as they would talk about the soccer game last night, as long as they've started that conversation. Students may pray before meals in school or meet on school property for religious purposes. And I go into more detail on that coming up. Schools may not agree or disagree with religious beliefs. You cannot have a student feel that their beliefs are not okay. More on student rights. Students can talk about religious beliefs and try to persuade their peers just the same as they would do with any other topic, such as if they're having a political debate between themselves, they can also have a religious debate about between themselves. Students may hand out religious literature to peers the same as they would any other literature. This can't take over just the same as the rules or policies you have in place about handing out other literature. This would need to be on their own time, not during class, and follow those same policies. The rights that parents have. Parents first gained their rights in 1925 when they were given the guarantee to parents to the right to enroll their children in private rather than public schools. Now, this can be a religious type school or a secular school, but they do have the right to do that. They do not have to attend a public school. Many school districts also give parents the right to opt out of lessons or curriculum that go against any of their religious or moral beliefs. School staff may not lead their class in prayer or devotional readings from the Bible or other religious activities. Here are some rights for our teachers, administrators, and staff. School staff has the right to freely worship while off duty. If staff is an acting representative of a public school system, however, the courts have said that their rights are more constrained by the Establishment Clause. So if a staff member is acting as a school representative, such as a coach or a teacher or an administrator, they cannot engage in religious type of activities during that time. Most schools allow staff to wear clothing or jewelry with religious affiliation. Staff may also keep their religious identity hidden. They don't have to share. They can share if someone asks, but they do not have to share, and they are not allowed to give their opinion. Schools must not infringe on the rights of teachers when off duty to express their religious freedom. Prayer in schools. So in 1962, the Supreme Court prohibited schools from sponsoring religious activities. In 1965, the Elementary and Secondary Act was passed, as I stated before, and students are allowed to pray and read their Bibles, Torahs, Qurans, or scriptures during non-instructional times. Students may organize prayer groups. The students in these groups are allowed to announce their meeting dates and times. The First Amendment prohibits teachers from encouraging or discouraging students from participating in prayer. Teachers can participate as long as they are not in their official capacities. So if this was before school, during an unpaid time, or an after school time during unpaid, they can participate in these prayer groups as well. The Establishment Clause prohibits state officials from making judgments about what constitutes as an appropriate prayer. We cannot tell students what's appropriate and what is not when they are praying. Okay, so the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. In 1954, Congress revised the Pledge of Allegiance to refer to the nation as under God. 2010, there was a court case in the 9th District Court of Appeals, and they ruled that the recitation of the pledge did not constitute as an establishment religion. Religion and curriculum. Public schools are not allowed to have religious activities such as worship or Bible reading that are organized by the school. Schools can teach about the role that religion plays in society, but not about or giving their bias on a particular religion. How to teach evolution has always been a hot topic and is still an ongoing debate in state legislatures today. Bible study during the school day with students is considered unconstitutional because they teach the Bible as religious truth and that you are acting as an official for the school. So that is during a school day. That would be different, though, if it were after hours and you joined a group. Okay, holiday programs. The school district must evaluate all educational value of the programs and the quality of its musical pieces to make sure that we are not just doing the program for the sake of having a Christmas program. We need to make sure that there is educational value and that it did pertain to some type of education that we have done previously. Schools must make sure that their students don't feel that they have to participate. They shouldn't feel that or be graded on this program. They should feel that if they are uncomfortable or that it offends their religious sensibilities, that they could opt out and not participate. Religious activities and equal access. The Equal Access Act of 1984 was passed, stating that if you receive federal funds from a public school, cannot discriminate on religion or political views. A meeting as defined and protected by the Equal Act may include a prayer service, a Bible study, a Bible reading, or a worship exercise. Student groups cannot use school funds, social media platforms, school newspapers, or school bulletin boards to advertise any of their meeting dates or times. So my CLO correlation, the assignment correlated with CLO 6.5 and that I was able to evaluate and share how religion plays a role in public schools. Having this knowledge is helpful when working with students, staff, and the community as a building leader because I will be able to make informed decisions. I made my presentation to only give information about the history of religion and education and the facts about policies and laws. I did not want to put my bias or personal opinions into the presentation. Monitoring the laws, rights, and policies has to be done extremely carefully. You don't want to micromanage your staff, and you want them to feel that you trust them. I feel that by doing informal observations or walkthroughs, you could monitor to make sure that staff are following the guidelines. I would also have a training or review at the beginning of the year to quickly go over these policies, rights, and laws so that everyone is on the same page. The relevance. I have a better understanding and knowledge of what the laws are for handling situations about religion in school. I was able to have time to analyze the information and think about how I could use it in my current position or position as a future leader. Having knowledge about the laws and religion is extremely important for building leaders so that we are not infringing on rights of students and staff, and to make sure that we are following those laws and policies. Here's my reflection. As a future leader, knowing what is allowed and what is not allowed when it comes to religion is important. I worked in a district previously where it was very strict and you couldn't do anything pertaining to any holiday. I'm now in a district that is much more lax on their views of religion in schools. Now, we do follow all the same rules and regulations, but we can put up decorations and sing holiday songs and do a day of holidays around the world. The students really enjoy learning about these holidays and all the different cultures. In the future, when I'm a building leader, I would like to have my students participate in a holiday around the world or a cultural celebration. I also feel that I am more confident now when making decisions about what in my school about what can and cannot be done. And here are my references. Thank you.